Welcome to selfdiscoverymedia.com, where we discover the communities that are making a difference in the lives of others. Our self-discovery is something we are all making on our life's journey. Here you will find the people that will be your guidance, that will be your inspiration, that will be there for you in support on your journey of life. Do enjoy. Our next show is... Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to The Story Matters right here on selfdiscoverymedia.com. I'm your host, Sarah Troy, and my wonderful guest today, who is joining me from Minnesota, I think she said, Alyssa Bigham. We're going to be talking about a brilliant program called CaringBridge, a way of keeping connected to your loved ones. My cousin-in-law, Darius Brubeck, if you love music, you would have heard me interview him last year. He is the son of Dave Brubeck, a jazz quartet, wonderful music. He came down with the COVID-19 and really was touch and go there for quite a while. We were not sure he was going to make it. I'm in Canada. They're in England. His wife, my cousin, unable to go to the hospital, and nobody could go and do it and find anything out. And this was the beautiful bridge of understanding what was going on with him, what his daily progress was, being able to send messages out to him, be able to receive messages once he could give them. And it was just so comforting. And I think this is, a beautiful program, and that's the reason why I really had to do it today. So Alyssa works at the CaringBridge, and it's worldwide. So this, as I said, I discovered it in UK. We're going to discover how it started, which you just gave me a little spiel on, but I love for everyone to know how it started, because I think it is something that is so, so important. Never mind during COVID. This has brought it to, I think, the forefront of how important it is. But for anybody who is around the world and somebody gets sick and you don't know what's going on, this is a brilliant program of being able to follow that progress and stay informed and be able to send loving wishes out to someone, which can be so utterly healing for them. So welcome to the show, love.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Thank you for having me. What an opportunity it is to speak about CaringBridge on your show.
Oh, well, it's a brilliant idea. And I was asking you how it came about. So if you wouldn't mind telling the audience of how it came about, because everything always comes out of a need.
Sure. Yeah, it was started way back in 1997. Founder Sana Mering, she was a computer programmer, and one of her dearest friends was going through a premature birth, and Sana was in charge of contacting the dear friend's family, and she made about 3 phone calls, and she was in tears because it's exhausting, and the unknowns of going through the health journey and the premature birth. And so she decided to put her computer programming skills to use and created CaringBridge in her basement.
You see, it's either the garage or the basement or somewhere, but this is the thing. It's the creativity that comes out of need. You see that there's something missing, and that's when those beautiful creative juices going and go, but I've got an ability. There is a need. Let's fill this gap. And this is how beautiful creations have found it. But of course, it's then, very well doing it for her friend who may be not too far away, but then how did it grow to be such a worldwide phenomenon?
Right. Word of mouth is one of the most, and just how you heard of us, Sarah.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
Just people realize what a beautiful thing CaringBridge can be. I mean, going through your own health journey is daunting enough, to be able to update everyone it can be just exhausting when all you're trying to do is get better yourself. So, it is grown. We are 44 employees based out of Minnesota, but we are, as you mentioned, worldwide. So it's a wonderful thing.
Now, of course, COVID has probably kept you extremely busy because no one was allowed in the hospitals. And, we know that everybody was inundated, especially in certain places, and to try and get any news whatsoever. And the news could change from hour to hour. So, having somebody there. And now, how does it work with the hospitals? Is there somebody designated in the hospitals that is that updater?
Yeah, so we work with hospitals to kind of sort of prescribe CaringBridge. That's not
Hmm.
exactly the term that they would use, but to recommend CaringBridge as sort of a means of keeping up to date. As you said, COVID 19, and I mean in the world that is sort of the unknown of depending on where you are at, where your loved ones are, and CaringBridge has just we've heard from a lot of people who are so very thankful for CaringBridge during this time of unknown.
Yeah. Yeah, and imagine too that if there's somebody designated in the hospital to do this, this takes a lot of pressure off everyone else. They
Mm-hmm.
can't answer these phone calls. Half the time, there's just too many patients to kind of keep up with everything. People are on shifts, you know. So having
Mm-hmm.
somebody designated to do this, and I imagine it is actually kind of a sad but wonderful job to do, because sometimes you may not be passing on wonderful news, but other times you are. They're improving, or this is the message to you. It can be really kind of a wonderful position to be in, to be able to pass those messages on.
Mm-hmm. And of course, we find a lot of people have co-authors. You can be an author of your site, or you can administer someone to also be a co-author in case you're the person in the hospital, you're too ill to sort of update, or you kind of want to pass that on to another loved one to update. I mean, you talk about healing is comes in many sorts of ways, and while there's no real universal definition of healing, we strongly believe that that having loved ones around you, and that is a source of healing. I mean, that is one way to just be able to heal, I guess.
Well, it's proven that
Yeah.
love and caring is actually at a higher frequency, a higher vibration. And when you've got that gathering of love towards someone, it's been proven that, kind of love and prayers and caring towards someone actually does become part of the healing, because it
Yes.
literally is that energy going into the body that starts doing its work. So the more people that can send out this love, send out wishes, send out concern to the patient, the more it is actually blanketing that patient in some love, which, is really, they may not know it at the time. But, oh, that's a message from so this part of my body feels good. No, it doesn't work like that. But the overall well-beingness of a person can really start healing.
Exactly. You hit the nail on the head there, and we strongly believe that CaringBridge brings that
Hmm.
to patients.
A couple of years ago, my sister was, she's in England, my brother's in England, I'm here in Canada. My sister went into hospital, and her whole family flew over, and it was, I was told that this could be it. Now, she's a woman who's suffered from lymphoma, cancer, sticky blood, and I mean, God, what she hasn't been through, and she's a miracle that she is still alive. But um, trying to get your family members to tell you really what's going on is quite honestly awful, because
Mm-hmm.
either they're caught up in the emotion, or they're
Mm-hmm.
cryptic, or one person to the next doesn't really know what's going on, and they're making it up, or I don't know. So it's sometimes they're too caught up in the emotion to tell you what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So having somebody else there with the messaging coming through, giving you that update, it takes out the upheaval emotion, and
Mm-hmm.
allows you to actually see the facts of what's going on. So I think it takes the burden away from the family of trying to keep everybody else updated.
Yes, I think you're right, and we've heard from a lot of people that it can be therapeutic
Yeah.
to really write down and journal sort of what's going on, to process exactly what the news that you heard from the doctor, and things can be miscued in phone calls and texts,
Yeah.
and sometimes it takes a minute just to process and to be able to get everything kind of down, and you said that perfectly.
I wish that it had been there at that time.
Mm.
I've heard after the fact of a family member being sick,
Mm.
and well, we didn't want to bother you, and it's like, now you've made me feel worse, because had I known at the time, I'm a great person believer in sending those loving vibrations, then I would have felt I am doing something, right? So it's great for the person in the hospital, you know, for the loved ones and everything to be updated and be able to send loving prayers, but even for other people to just, you know, I can't do much, I'm so far away, but I can send this love and I can be there in support of the rest of the family. And it becomes actually kind of a support group for everyone, for the people who are waiting and for the people who are going through it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you're right. And people can leave messages, you know, on their CaringBridge site. They can offer ways to help on just on the platform too. And so it does become, it's kind of a give and receive both ways. It feels good for the person going through the health journey, but then also other people who are trying to know how to help and how they can, what they can do.
What can they do for the family that is waiting?
Mm-hmm.
You know, even reaching out, how are you doing? Can I do anything for you? You know, because sometimes if you ask someone on the phone, oh, I'm all right. No, they're not.
Exactly. Well, and we've heard, I mean, it's very tough sometimes to ask for help too.
Yes.
So you know, it's not really in our human nature to want to ask for help.
Yeah.
So.
Yes. Yeah, especially if you're British.
Yeah.
I'm all right.
They joke about the Minnesota nice thing too. So I don't know if you've heard about that.
No, I haven't. What is that?
Yeah, it's almost like we're just fine. It seems to be the same thing you're referencing.
Yes, I've got a leg fallen off, but don't worry about me. I'm okay.
Yes.
And, you know, again, that can also make somebody feel rather helpless. We know you need help.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just ask us for it. Tell us what we can do. No, it's all right, you know. So if you're following the dialogue, you know, especially written by, you know, whoever the medical people are about the updates, you're getting the facts so you know where you can step in, where the other person just does not want to ask.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. And we recently launched our planner, which is sort of a calendar tool of what, you know, people can, if they need help with, do they need help with groceries? Do they need help walking the dog? Do they, you know, it can sort of put all that out there. And so that can be very helpful too, if you're not very comfortable in asking for help.
You're in hospital and you've got pets at home.
Right.
You know, who's going to look after my pets? You're adding a stress to the patient because now they're worried about their loved ones at home, be children, furry ones, or whatever. And a person can't get sick if they're in stress. So if they know, and you know, there's that daily update. No, little George went for a walk today. He's doing fine. You know, it helps. It helps. It puts that person at ease, where their energy now can be on their healing.
Yes, exactly.
People don't realize how far this goes. You know, this isn't like, oh yeah, good to know he's doing all right. You know, it really is the healing energy. It's we want to know someone cares. All right?
Yes.
We want to know that the people who do care are getting the right information. And that just takes a whole load off people's minds and shoulders.
It does. And I mean, to the CaringBridge site, I mean, we have hundreds of thousands of sites and we get hundreds of thousands of visits a day, which is kind of unheard. I mean, with 44 employees, it's a little
daunting, yes.
But you see the reach and that, you know, we matter and people rely on us daily. And, you know, I personally used CaringBridge for myself, not for myself, excuse me, for my father was going through a health journey in 2010. And it became a lifeline for my family in all of the ways that you referenced. Just, you know, we had care about an hour and a half away from our home and people wanted to know how they can help. You know, he was in the hospital for months and you know, we had things to do back home, but you know, we were traveling back. So it was a hectic time, but CaringBridge was always there, always a steady platform for us to rely and to communicate to our loved ones and for them to also communicate with us.
Yeah. Keeping the bridge of communication open, which is really the bottom line of what it is, caring and communication. And, you know, that beautiful bridge of keeping it open there. I mean, we haven't got yet to the chip, click. There apparently it's coming. Hopefully long after I've gone. Nobody's going to chip me. But we'll be there one day. But until then, we need this other factor. How many countries are you in?
We are in 234 countries, I believe. Yeah.
And how many languages is that?
So we are primarily in English, but we have the opportunity to, if and I actually might need to get back to you on that because we used to have a Spanish translation, but we no longer do that anymore. So. Right.
Just a hint to know that there are a lot of translation programs out there that can do it automatically for you, just in case. But English is a pretty universal language anyway, and there's always somebody that can translate, right? But
right.
We're in a world where maybe not right now because everybody's still on lockdown, but we are travelers. We love to explore. And my one daughter is a butterfly. She is constantly, she works to travel. And before COVID came out, she'd already gone to 14 countries this year.
Wow.
And, there's always the worry about her. And like, if she did become sick, how would anybody know? What help would she be getting? I mean, as a parent, it would be all of these millions of questions that you don't even know what to ask. Can somebody pre-register if they know they're going to be traveling, or if anything comes up?
Yeah, so anyone can create a CaringBridge site for any number of reasons. I mean, it's free to use. You can use it anywhere that you'd like. So yes, they can if they would like to. We've talked about how basically, if you are, for instance, going to the hospital for labor, premature birth, or even just a birth, I mean, it sort of journals the story of day to day, or, you don't have to journal every day,
right.
kind of thing. So it really, truly is available for any sort of illness, any sort of health journey. You can tailor it to be just how you want it to be. So, yeah.
Because, that is, from a parent's point of view, kind of the worst nightmare that we don't want to think about is what happens if they become sick in another country, especially if it's a third world country or whatever, how would we know anything? And trying to get any information out of places like that can be absolutely daunting. So,
sure.
Most certainly, knowing that there is that could be set up quickly. Now, how quickly can it be set up in a case like that?
Oh, very quickly. I think we talk about under 3 minutes is, and, to your point, if somebody falls ill or if there's an accident or something, any sort of, we're kind of a wide range of anything that, as I said, it can be tailored to your needs.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Because I know she's homebound right now, but I know those wings are wanting to flap again.
Yeah. Well, and I personally think it's very easy to set up and very easy to share out, via email. However, other platforms if you're using another platform, it's very easy at the click of a button. I mean, everything is pretty much at the click of a button these days.
Right. So, I mean, it could come either through email, through your phone or whatever, but it could come through text, or it can come through anything other
yes,
thing?
Exactly. And we have a new and improved CaringBridge application too, and CaringBridge app. So, and that's very easy. It functions, I don't know what type of phone you have, but it's very
Android.
Easy. Yeah. Well, we have a great Android app and an iPhone app too. I mean, it functions very, very smoothly. So.
Yeah, because I mean, your generation are all phones. For I know more about running on a computer than my kids do. But when it comes to the phones, the app, this and this and that, they're more equipped on that. Whereas me, it's like, what? So it's good that it covers both bases, because you can run into trouble. So was it because of your dad that you joined this organization?
Yes, it was. I had always kind of right out of college been in the nonprofit industry. And once I saw an opening at CaringBridge, I was kind of blown away that it was, first of all, based in Minnesota, and I lived in Minnesota, and that there was a position opening that was, in my field of work that I have been
Destiny,
in.
destiny.
Maybe, yeah. So, it was, the rest is history, I guess. I've been at CaringBridge for 5 years, and I've had the pleasure of working a few years with the founder, Sana, who she has retired, but she is no stranger to CaringBridge. So,
it's her baby.
It is her baby. So
you may step back and watch them grow up, but every now and again you intervene.
Yes.
Excuse me. And again, I think it's a brilliant platform to have, and it's good to know that it's in 200 countries. And we don't realize how much peace of mind is. And, we're always talking about communication, and how important communication is in every part of your life. And, one of the things we've forgotten how to do is communicate. And, my daughter may go off, and I'm always saying to her, I want to hear from you every couple of days, or when I have internet, Mum, and when you have internet, I want to hear from you. I don't care you're 37. You're still my baby. And you just want to hear from them. So, having something like this that, one time she fell and really damaged her knee and her shin. And it's like, I hear about it later, and if it had been something that she'd hooked up and I know she's getting the right care, and that everything is okay, we don't really realize the communication of peace of mind, of how important it is.
Yes, absolutely. And at CaringBridge, you can make it, as I said, tailor it to be however you like, and also privacy settings can be however you'd like too, which is we hear from a lot of people that they appreciate that, because we are not, it's free to use. We don't have any advertisements. We don't.
It's all supported by donations, folks, which we're going to be bringing up later.
Thank you. It is. And we don't sell information. It's not. And so a lot of people really appreciate that level of privacy, because they like to put everything out there on their CaringBridge site. They like to be transparent.
It's not for public use, it's for personal use. So you want to know that really, like a phone call, it's private. You're talking to someone.
Yes.
And that this isn't going to get out to some pharmaceutical company that's now going to start emailing you all sorts of drugs that they want you to buy. Yeah. So
exactly. Yeah. Or there's definitely not going to be any advertisements on the side of the page or anything like that. Very private.
And as a business who does it that way as well, I've always got people saying, have advertisement, I mean, thank goodness they've taken it away now, but flash advertising was the most annoying thing out there. And, with me, I see you've got flash advertising, I'm going to a different site. I'm not even going in there. And it's okay to be sponsored by someone and to say sponsored by, because that is somebody that's supporting you, and that's okay. But to have kind of more advertising on the page than content is really kind of puts people off. And I know that people do need to be funded. So let's get into this, is that you are completely a donation-based operation. And it's as little as $30 that people can donate, or is up to as much as they want. And I imagine that people who are going through the family member caregivers are definitely going to be more generous, but that's what keeps the wheels turning.
That is, yeah, we offer the $30 a month sort of boiler, I guess I shouldn't, it's $30 a month because that sort of is how much it costs to keep one website, one CaringBridge site up per month. Now you can donate as little or as much as possible. We are so appreciative of any and all donations. But yeah, we are, as you said, we are completely funded by donors.
Yeah. And that is, it's about the content. I'm the same platform. It's about the content. It's wanting to get the information out. Now, whereas I am, the more public, the better to get out. You're the other side of the scale, and the more private it is, the more beneficial it is. So if we don't have those donations, we don't have those people kind of supporting the content of what we're bringing, in your case, the peace of mind of that connection, that caringness, then of course it can't be there. And, you know, a lot of people, you know, sponsor a month, this and that, but you may have only used you once, or maybe a friend of yours was in it, and you realized how much that beneficial was. But, you know, everybody has some sort of donation that they're going to do every month. And to know that you're bridging that gap between people who are sick and far away, and that loving vibration of how healing it is, the peace of mind. We've got to remember, and this happens so often, when loved ones are in the hospital, the family members get so stressed out, they get so torn apart by trying to be there and be everything for the person who's sick, they become sick themselves, right? Which is so common. So having that bridging of that gap, and it's okay, doing fine today, that deep breath, I cannot worry today, or, you know, today I need to generate more energy. It takes away that a lot of that stress that's going to ricochet over the whole family.
Absolutely.
So the donation button will come up a bit later. But, you know, it's, you know, for a lot of people, they spend $30 on lunch, you know, pack a lunch one day and put that $30 to something that literally is going to be life supporting.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, I think so. I mean, I wholeheartedly believe in the mission of CaringBridge to ensuring that no one is going through a health journey alone. And I think that's worth $30 a month.
Yes. And of course, it's not limited to that. You know, it could be even somebody has, you know, had a loved one go through it and wants to do a one-time big donation. You're not going to quibble about it.
Absolutely. No. We're grateful for any and all donations. But we are completely funded by donors, and we're so grateful for everyone's support. We hear from people who, you know, they've been visiting their grandson has had a site for years, and finally I should give back. Yes, they say, and you know, we're so grateful for that.
And, you know, I like the fact that it's even aftercare, because Darius now is at home, and you know, he was on the ventilator, I think, for about 3 weeks. So, you know, and we know that the damage, you know, to the lungs and everything else, and the recouping is going to be a good year. And this is a vibrant man who lives for his music, and actually had just played, was he in Germany, I think, just before this, before this broke out in February. And, you know, for him, music is everything. So, you know, not being able to play it, or, you know, just learning to walk again and gathering his strength and energy again, we still can get updates. So it's not like once they go home and that's it. It's still the updates of the progress that's there. Because so much, sometimes it's out of sight, out of mind. Well, they're at home now, they must be all right. But that's a different journey when they get home. You know, they're out of danger now. But now in that recovery, how long is it going to be? How long was it for your father once he finally got home?
Yeah, for a long time. I mean, and as you said, it's kind of, he'll still be recovering for a while. It sounds like he was in the hospital for a month and a half, or
I think so. Yes. Okay. Very close to that. Yeah.
Gosh, well, I'm glad to hear that he's recovering and back at home now. As you mentioned, the unknown, we will never close down a CaringBridge site unless someone requests that their site be closed. So if he wants to do an update in a month, in a year, you know, he'll always be able to reference. And that's something that we hear from CaringBridge users all the time, that they're so grateful that they can look back a year ago on what was happening, or, oh, I'm so glad I could read the updates that my spouse provided when I was sleeping, or, you know, when I was trying to recover myself. And
yeah. And, you know, as I said, for the nursing staff, you know, to be able to pass a message on if they can't read it themselves, or to be able to, you know, write a message back if they're unable to do it themselves. I think if that's a lot of empowerment for the nursing staff, because, you know, very often they're so stretched and inundated, and especially through this COVID time. Where do they have the time for any of this? But they also know how that it is part of the healing ingredient. And so it not only is it the well-beingness of their patient, they can see the difference it makes to the patient, but I imagine it makes a huge difference to the actual nursing staff as well, by being able to see the effects of that CaringBridge.
Yeah. Well, and one thing you mentioned, caring for, when I used it for my dad, one thing we used to do were, we would read the messages from everyone, and anyone can do that, who's
Yes.
following a CaringBridge site, and his response to reading when we read those messages aloud to him, that was just something we will forever cherish, because you could really feel that blanket of love.
Yes.
From everyone.
Yes. Yes. And in the recovery stage, sometimes you kind of feel, oh, I don't know if I can continue to do this. Go back and read where you used to be. all that love that was given to you then, it's still there. Apply it now, because just because you come out of hospital doesn't mean, oh, now I'm back to running a marathon. No, recovery takes time, and you have good days and bad days.
Exactly.
So having that continuous support, and inquiry. I mean, I think one of the saddest things is people that have gone into hospital, especially with COVID, and don't have anybody, and they die alone. They're buried off somewhere, and that is so utterly sad. And we see this time and time again, especially with older folks, who may not have family members around anymore. So I don't know. I think that it would be a brilliant idea for nursing homes to sign up with it as well, for when people go into hospital, to keep the nursing home people know, oh, Joyce is doing well, and letting everybody know, and everybody from the nursing home sending it back. I mean, it doesn't just have to be family, does it? It could be, your work colleagues. It could be a nursing home. It could be a sports team. Whatever it is that it's that support, and not being alone, because being alone and not having any communication at all is very detrimental for anybody who's going through something life-threatening.
Absolutely, it is. And as I mentioned before, we hope that CaringBridge can fill that
gap.
Yeah, a gap, yeah.
Be the bridge of communication, absolutely. It is a brilliant idea. I love the caringness behind it. We do an awful lot of shows on caringness and kindness and the smile, and how much energy it carries, how it can lift a person's spirit, and how much it is needed in the world right now. And, in our own daily lives. But for those that are going through something that is, challenging physically, that extra smile, that going out of your way for that extra caringness of inquiry or support carries so much weight, because we know that kindness is the frequency just below love. And the more you step into kindness and caring, the more you rise up into the frequency of love. And love is such a healing vibration. So it's not like, well, I don't know how much impact it's going to do. It's going to have a big impact. And don't do it for the impact. Just do it knowing that every drop counts.
Yes, exactly.
Caringness grows. I think it also is good for the people who are sending out the caring. You get more encouraged to kind of keep wanting to do it. Keep wanting to send out, how are you doing today? I know you've got this, don't worry about anything else, and it becomes something that you become a part of. You become vested in the person you're supporting.
Yes. We see all sorts of communities come together on CaringBridge sites, and it's inspiring for our staff too. Just to, people rely on us.
Yeah.
Hundreds of thousands daily. That's kind of amazing.
Yes. Well, that's the reason why you go into a nonprofit, isn't it? You go into it, it's not about the money. And again, many of the shows that we do, we're about the change. And, I'm always given sayings, and the saying I was given a couple of years ago was, the universe is here to shake us up, to wake us up, for us to step up and change it up. And to realize that by investing in people and planet and all life forms, the profit will come. Where we went wrong, we put profit at the expense of people and planet. And, many hospitals became that as well. The patient was a number and not a person. And we're shifting that. We're shifting back to caring about people, being kind, how impactful a smile is, an inquiry is, a support is. And so having that kind of platform there is, I think the reason why you're growing so much is because everybody is wanting to step back into caringness and kindness and not be driven by the importance of profit. And so you're a very enriched and abundant society.
I think so, yes.
Yeah, but just got to match the funding to go with that.
That's true, yes.
To keep the ball going.
Yes.
We don't know what's going to happen next. They're talking about phase 2 of COVID. I was told that it might be going into the lymph nodes next time, so which many people are not even going to register that, before they're going to register that. So we know that there's a phase 2 coming out. We know that there's certain societies think it's a hoax. And many people think, well, I'm all right, so I'm going back out. And we're going to see, it hit again. If you just have to look at histories of pandemics and how they work. There's always a phase 2 to them. And it's always down to the hygiene and the common sense, which very often we don't do, and a good, strong immune system. So, it's a good thing for people to have in their mind, because you don't know if phase 2 is going to hit any one of you. And you're in that hospital and you can't be visited. You can't make phone calls. You can't do anything. And having this kind of caring package where at least your loved ones can know what's going on. And even if you're comatose, we know that if you talk to people in a coma, they can hear you at some level, right? So it's still important for those messages to get through to someone. So by no means are you done. You're just beginning.
That's correct. Yeah. And even if, you do have the symptoms and you are staying home you're isolating yourself, that doesn't mean that you need to, be alone.
Right.
You can use CaringBridge to connect with your loved ones.
Right. Yes. It's scary when you get sick, especially with something that, is a bit unknown and is showing so many different faces. And we know that for an awful lot of people now, what has happened is depression has come out of this.
Yeah.
And again, the kind of, when you get depressed, you disconnect, and that's the time you need to be connected. So if you have the quote, the family, friends and family already on the bridge, and you can say, I'm having a bad day, then that's when people can support and let you know you're not alone. So it's not just about physical life and death. It's about emotional and mental challenges as well.
Exactly. Yes. You can, as I mentioned, tailor it to be if you're feeling down, or if you're, CaringBridge is there for anyone, anywhere who needs it, and who needs the love and support from their loved ones.
Yeah. Cancer patients. It's long-term recovery or long-term going through. Nowadays we have so much that comes up, and it's something, a lot of people are developing diseases that cannot be cured. They have to just be managed. Things like fibromyalgia, which brings along, the mental strain, the fatigue, the this and that, and it takes you through a whole spectrum of emotions. And to have a kind of a group of people there that you can, having a bad day, or, this, I found this works, and, a community that you could bridge there. But the beauty of it is that it's not like a Facebook or anything where everybody else can read it. It's private, and you know that whatever you say is amongst the group, which I think makes a huge difference.
Yes, that's exactly right. I think it makes a huge difference as well. And we hear that it is very important, privacy. I mean, you're at your most vulnerable state, going through a health journey. You'd like to make sure that is private. You are reaching who you want to reach.
Right. Yeah. And I would have imagined that, not every doctor, but some doctors could be a part of it as well, by keeping progress on someone. If they're writing every day, or if they're seeing what's going on, they can keep up with the progress. And, I saw you had a bad day yesterday. What's going on? Let's look at that. And, that could be a way, because we also know right now that it's very hard to even see a doctor. right?
Yes.
And if
Yep.
you're going to make a phone call, it's next week sometime. So, this is even something where if a doctor has a few patients on the CaringBridge, they can go in there and see what's happening with the progress. And,
Yes.
what a wonderful way to kind of keep that connection between your medical and you, and still know that support is there, because half the time it's like, can we bother the doctor, or, is, what can you do by phone calls and all of that. So I think having that long-term care, especially with a patient that is going through something, is also good for the doctor and also
Yeah.
good for the patient. So there's so many avenues here.
So many
So many.
avenues.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I've had colleagues and previous former colleagues who have joined CaringBridge and who I haven't necessarily been keeping in touch with on the phone, but have been able to through CaringBridge, and that has been very, very lovely as well, just because it doesn't maybe seem as natural sometimes if somebody you've lost touch with over the years.
Yeah.
But CaringBridge is, that provides that gap of communication and yeah.
Yeah. You've got a lot of kids that are in hospital with cancer. My friend here, who's now 86 and an ever-ready bunny. I mean, just how much energy this woman has got is unbelievable. But she spent 4 years in hospital when she was 6 with polio.
Wow.
And in the room with a lot of kids, some didn't make it, some did. But imagine if it was there for the kids that were in long-term care, and somebody does go home. And you know how hard it is to kind of stay connected by email or anything else, but if you're still staying connected by the CaringBridge, you have shared some of your most vulnerable times with those people on that ward, right?
Yes.
And to
Yeah.
know that you still have that connection afterwards, and you've become a family that you can still support each other, but also the support that's pouring in from everyone else while you're in that ward. I mean, it's a blanket of love. Love and support, we
It
know
really
that.
is.
Yeah, we know that people, it's not just medicine, it's not just the drugs and this and that. We know that people will get better quicker when
Yes.
they know they're cared for, when people care, when that love is there, when that support is there. That gives people the reason to fight through something. And
Yes.
in some cases, literally could be the difference between life and death, between someone giving up and someone holding on and
Yes.
going through the process. So, and it's so simple.
Yeah.
3 minutes to
Truly.
sign up,
Yep.
right? And then how do you reach out to other people? You just invite them, or?
Yeah, you can several ways. It's as easy as sharing a link through
Mhm.
email. You can, if you're on Facebook, you can post to Facebook. You can text people. We offer various different ways of sharing. But it's really simple. I mean, it really is. And it, as you mentioned, it is truly a blanket of love.
Yeah, and so simple, but so impactful. We have a lot of people that will go into hospital, which they're not able to do right now. People will just go and sit with patients, hold their hands and talk to them, and just be there, those caregivers. So, or read to the children or this or that. And, with the COVID, they can't do any of that.
Right.
So this is a way, what do you do in a time of need? You look for another way to do something,
Yeah.
right? And this is another way of staying in contact and still being able to do something. It's all about people not feeling alone. It's about knowing what's going on, peace of mind. It's about support, and ultimately about love and healing, which goes hand in hand. I think it's a brilliant program. As I said, everything comes out of something when it's, when there's a need. That's when we see the most creativity. And it's so simple. The fact that you're already in 200 countries, absolutely brilliant. And, that peace of mind. It's peace of mind, folks. I promise you. I mean, he's, married to my cousin, but, we're not that close. I live in Canada there in England, but still, I was extremely concerned, not just for him, but for her, and knowing how much they love each other. And it was so nice to be able to follow in the end of the updates, or be able to send out encouraging words, not just for him, but for her too. Right? Which is, she needed it. She needed that support because she didn't know if he was going to survive. right? And at one point he's kind of in a coma, so he doesn't know what's going on. So it's so important just to let people know you are there for them.
Mm-hmm.
So having said
Absolutely.
that, how do people sign up?
They can go to CaringBridge.org, and on the, I believe it's right side, you click the sign up for free, and it'll take you step by step. And as I mentioned, just a couple of minutes of your time, and you're there.
So then you create a link that you can send out to people.
Yep.
And if it's the other way around, then you receive a link and you go into that link, and that's where you are in that private space.
Yes. And
So,
I mentioned the various privacy levels before, but you can make it as high privacy setting as you want, or as low privacy setting as you want.
Right, right. So just depending where you're at. Nobody should have to go through a health crisis on their own, and no family should be stuck at home worrying about their loved ones at the hospital while they're trying to balance everything else, and having that caring bridge of communication. It's just, there was a very interesting show I did on TIFF, and it's a woman whose daughter got into an accident 2 blocks away from home, but she didn't have ID on her at the time. And she only found out about it hours and hours later when they identified her. And so she actually created something called TIFF, which is on the driver's license. It immediately goes to a database of all your health issues, who you are, who the contacts are, which the first responders can do. And so, for people, instead of hearing about it later, especially if it's somebody that may pass, you want to be there. So again, something that came out of a tragedy, that proved it to be something else. So I love hearing these things. Now, to donate, where do they go? And, as you said, it doesn't matter which level, but $30 a month is something that sustains one website open. So that could be something they could do monthly, or they can do a one-time donation.
Yeah, we appreciate any and all donations. Just caringbridge.org/donate, or it's right on the caringbridge.org homepage too. So
very, very simple.
Very simple.
Through PayPal or through credit card?
Credit card is great. There's also instructions if you'd like to. You can also mail in a check too. We appreciate any forms of donation. So
right, yes, we don't see too many mail-in checks anymore in this automated world. It's still in some countries, I suppose.
Yes,
but it's and then you could be an ongoing supporter or just a one-time supporter.
Yes, you can be a monthly donor if you choose, or just a one-time donation.
Yeah,
great.
You're giving someone the peace of mind. You're giving someone some loving support. You're giving that camaraderie, of that connection, letting people know they're not alone, the family members and the people that are sick. And you're also helping the medical staff a great deal, because they're not having to answer the phones every 5 minutes. They can just go and relay the message. Or how does the message get to the patient? That's one thing I didn't ask.
Typically, it would be similar to if the patient is in the hospital or at home, if whoever is signed up to be an author or a co-author of CaringBridge, that message can be relayed to whoever can then update the CaringBridge site.
So you can sign somebody in the hospital to do it?
We don't typically do that necessarily.
Because in the case of COVID, there was no family member there. So how was Darius getting the messages?
Yeah, so he must have had someone to update his site then. Or how is he?
Yeah, how is he getting the messages if no one could be there and he was in a coma?
Right.
So somebody was obviously the bridge in between. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, we do hear stories of that, and I do apologize. We do hear stories of that, and that just warms my heart, because that is talk about medical staff going above and beyond. But
I think for them, it takes a big burden off their shoulders.
Absolutely.
Because the more you can say, these are the messages, you take a few minutes to read the messages to someone and saying, and if you want a message back, I can send you a message back. You may take 5 minutes, but that 5 minutes has just been an ocean an
Right.
ocean of care for that person. And it has to make you as a caregiver, a medical person, feel good to know that this person is feeling so good about all the messages that are coming to them.
Yes.
So it's just another dose of medicine.
Yep. It's a way of
Spoonful
healing.
of sugar helps the medicine go down, right?
Right.
Another good feeling, absolutely. Well, this is wonderful. So it's CaringBridge.org.
Yes.
And then go to donations, or they can sign up. I think just cruise and see what it's about. As I say, even though, just my cousin-in-law, and please go and listen to Darius' show and his music, because I'll plug that one. But it was so nice to see all the support, and and knowing that my cousin was also so worried about him, unable to see him, didn't know what was going on, couldn't go there. Just to know that she was supported, he was supported, and just to see that ray of love there. And they had a daughter in New York, they're in London, and she couldn't go over. Yeah, she couldn't go over because of the lockdown. And so for her to be able to get the news and everything, it just is that beautiful ball of support and love where everybody's getting supported. We lock those fingers together, and it really becomes a wonderful support. So I think it's a brilliant idea. Definitely want people to go to it. We are going to be going into COVID phase 2, but forget about COVID, of any illness, or just, peace of mind where anybody is. You can have that, and that's wonderful. And just a little support, one lunch you don't go out for, and you support the CaringBridge. It will make your tummy feel very good.
Yes, it will.
Any parting words you want to give anyone, love?
Thank you so much, Sarah. This has been such a wonderful opportunity. I feel humbled and blessed to work at CaringBridge, and I'm so grateful for this opportunity. So thank you.
Well, as I said, people like you who work there doing the work you do, you're already enriched, you're already abundant, and your cup is runneth over, and you're busy sharing it out with everyone else. And boy, do we need that in the world right now. So keep pouring it out, love. And thank you for the work that you do and your team does. So everybody, please look at this, caringbridge.org. It's a wonderful idea, not just to do with sickness. It's a wonderful thing to support. At times of need, we need to know people are there. We need to know people care. We need that loving support, even if we can't give it physically. This is such a simple program that is so far reaching, literally 200 countries, and just making such a difference in everyone's lives that is affected by it. So please go and support it. And if you know that you've got somebody in hospital or somebody sick far away, and you just want that filtered. Yes, you could get phone calls. Yes, you could get emails, but you want the filtered, what's going on, and to know that your words are reaching them and that the updates are coming to you. This is the way to do it. And the peace of mind that will give you is also really extraordinary. So thank you very much for sharing with us today. And to everyone else out there, please look it up and get supporting it. It's a brilliant idea. Until next time, bye for now. We hope you enjoyed the show. We look forward to bringing you more shows. Please go to selfdiscoverymedia.com/shows, and you will see the incredible lineup of genres and shows that we have for you. We are here to make a difference in your life. Thank you for listening.